Brianna?
Yeah.
Kari Irwin?
Here.
Okay. Sophie Khan? Zachary Kreisler? Raphael Kriglin? Juliana Locke? Catherine Lee? Haley McGinnis? Anisha Ward Meridian? Shannon Latansi?
Here.
Danielle Otter? Daddy? Tina Sayek?
Yeah. I can send it to you too.
Chelsea Spears? Delaney Stone? Holly Thomas?
Yeah.
Paulo Ugeti? Brian Bott Nilsson?
Yeah.
Alright, is there anybody I didn't get?
I think that you might have called me. Jasper.
Jasper, okay. Good idea.
All right.
Okay.
Sophie.
Does anyone have an extra computer charger?
All right, we good with attendance? Cool. Welcome everybody to the ASCJ 200 lab. I know I've seen you guys this week, but this is our first Friday together. I know it's Friday mornings and all of us would rather be on a 3-day weekend if we had the choice. But just know that we're all going to be here together and I'm going to do my best to keep these Fridays fun for you guys. How many of you guys have been to the Digital Lounge before? Okay, so most of you have, but for those of you that haven't, this is a pretty cool place to be spending your Fridays and to have class. So we're going to be meeting in here every Friday. To kind of kick you guys off today, there's some sugar up here if you need a little bump. I see some tired faces, so please feel free to jump up and grab any if you need it. We're also doing an open house in here on Wednesday. There's some flyers up there, so I'd love to see you come in and greet us on Wednesday. So I'm just going to kick off class for a few minutes and then go over some laundry items, and we're going to jump right into WordPress.com today because you guys have an assignment due next Tuesday, and I want to make sure that you leave here ready to go. So I apologize in advance. I'm going to kind of get through a lot today. Hopefully next week we'll have a little bit more time to debrief and kind of talk about creativity a little bit more and the syllabus, but today we have a lot to get through, so apologies in advance. We're just going to kind of push through it. So I know as we talked about in class, we've been seeing this face all over our social media feeds this week, right? And some of you guys were even complaining about how it's like, why am I seeing this? I don't even know David Bowie. But why do you guys think I chose to put him up here today? Any ideas? Nothing? Come on, guys. Yeah?
Because one of his main messages was like self-expression and creativity.
Absolutely. I was actually already thinking of using him anyway until he's become so topical this week, which we are going to be bringing in topical media into this class, so it couldn't be more perfect. But the reason I chose to kind of start the class with David Bowie is because he's an enigma. Everything about him was about creativity and expression. So, I mean, I know this gets really annoying quickly, but I mean, look at all of these different images that he went through. This is just little animation somebody put together. But if you think about him as a person, I mean, everything about him was about expression, right? I mean, he transcended industries. I mean, he obviously in music was just a master. He was in films, and even everything he did as a person in terms of expression and kind of what was out there, again, as we're deconstructing media and looking at it. I mean, think about David Bowie. Like, pushing gender and sexuality lines. I mean, that was way before Ellen. That was way before any of this stuff was really seen in the mainstream. And he was really, you know, a champion of that back in the day. So I'm bringing him up today because I know we have a lot going on in ASCJ 200 in this class, right? I mean, we already have journalism and comm side by side, and that's a lot. So we already are kind of dealing with that during the week as we're talking about critical thinking and deconstructing media, and you guys are kind of, you know, becoming critical thinkers yourselves as we're kind of digging into some of these topics and these readings. But then there's this whole other layer we're adding onto all of that, which is a lot more, which is not only are you guys going to become experts at sort of looking at media and thinking about the messaging and the programming behind it, but you guys are going to make stuff too. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing in here on Friday. So it's a lot for one class, but it's a great class, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. And I was really excited that on the first day, a lot of you, when you talked about your mission for this class, it was kind of focused on the maker part of it. So that's what we're going to be doing in here on Fridays. So just to go over just kind of a few things. This is a famous quote. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, but I don't want anybody worrying that they're not David Bowie. Like, all of us are creative. All of us. So I don't want to hear it. Just, I'm going to shut you up the minute I start hearing about how you're not an artist or you're not in film school. All of us here are creative. And everything we're going to be doing on this class is completely palatable for everybody. We've purposefully designed it that way with starting at ground zero in mind. So we're not expecting you to have any experience in any of this. So no trepidation here, you guys. We're all going to have fun, and we're all going to challenge ourselves. And you're all going to come out of this class with a bunch of cool projects to show off. Just a few quick things about how we're going to run the class. Obviously, we love devices in here, and we love social media. But that being said, we have a lot to get through in these sessions. We only have 50 minutes together. We have a lot of programs to get into and assignments. So just be mindful of your multitasking. Like, I'm not going to stop you guys from being on Facebook or texting or any of these things, but just remember, like, if you start falling a few steps behind, it's going to be hard to catch up. So just think about that as you're in this session. For those of you that do have iPads or a second device with you, I have like 3 sitting up here. Feel free to follow along with the tutorials, and I'll show you in a second where those are going to be, but we're going to have one for every single assignment that you can kind of reference. Along the way, just, you know, I once in a while might ask you for a thumbs up just to make sure you guys are all following. You can always give us a thumbs down, and that means somebody can come and help you. And lastly, this class is being taught by the Digital Lounge. So I'm your digital instructor, but I have a whole team of people that work with me that are going to be very involved in this class. So I'm just going to have them introduce themselves quickly.
Hi, I'm Erica. I'm design specialist here, so I help you guys Illustrator and Photoshop stuff.
I'm Justin, creative media specialist. My office is right there too, with Erica's. I'm definitely more of a video specialist too, so later in the semester we get into Premiere and things like that. We'll be talking more.
All right, so you're going to see all of us in the room all the time. We're going to be walking around. We'll rotate some weeks depending on which one of us is up here kind of walking you guys through something. But all of us will always be here in addition to other members from my team. So there'll always be plenty of people in the room to kind of help you. So don't be shy. I mean, raise your hand if you're kind of falling behind and you have a question, because that's why we're here, is to help you. So just to kind of quickly show you as a resource before we jump into WordPress, if you guys haven't been to our website yet, you're going to want to bookmark this URL because you're going to be in this all the time. So annenbergdl.org, this is our website for the Digital Lounge. We're going to be meeting in here every Friday, by the way, not 406 like was listed on your syllabus. And I just want to point a few things out. So if I go up here to collections, you'll notice at the bottom there's an ASCJ 200 collection. So this is where all of the assignments are going to be that we're giving you guys. So again, this is week 1, so we only have one in here, which is what we're doing today. But just know that these are here for you guys to revisit. Again, you can always pull them up on an iPad if you want and kind of have them with you on a second screen. And lastly, we're open till 10 o'clock Monday through Friday, and we're open till 5 on Fridays. So like Erica, Justin, and I, our offices are all in here, so you're always welcome to come in and see us. But we also have the help desk that's there and also here to help you guys. They're going to be keeping up with your assignments, and they're kind of ready to help you as well. So you kind of have this whole army of people here to help you. So take advantage of it, because how many classes do you have that amount of support for? So take advantage. If you're not able to come in, we do have live chat on our site. So see right down here in the corner where it says chat now, you can also kind of ask us a question remotely if you're getting stuck. So you have all of these resources at your disposal to get through this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, and again, I apologize. I'm going to go kind of quickly today because we have a lot to get through. So I'm just going to jump right into WordPress.com. To do that, I'm going to pull up another browser because I already have a site logged in on the other one. So let me just see a show of hands. How many of you guys already have WordPress.com accounts? A few of you. So for you guys, it's up to you. If you just want to add a site to the account you already have, that's probably the easiest thing to do. If for some reason you wanted to create a separate account with a different email, you're free to do that as well. But I'm going to kind of go over for those of you that have never logged in. So I'm going to go to WordPress.com, and it's important to go to WordPress.com, not WordPress.org. They're not the same site. So everyone should see this landing page. And I'm going to go through as much of this as I can with you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Create Website. Now, just a word of caution, as you guys are using WordPress.com this semester, they've been unleashing a lot of premium features on here. We're not expecting you guys to spend any money. The free hosting will suffice for everything we're asking you to do. If you ever want to go in and purchase a theme or spend some money, you're more than welcome to, but it's certainly not expected. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Select Free Plan.
Doesn't matter what theme we choose.
It doesn't. So go ahead and type in your email address. Yeah, was there a question over there?
Step 1 and 2. You're skipped right to 3.
Okay.
It says enter a domain or keyword.
So yeah, go ahead and choose a domain, and it doesn't matter what you guys choose, but whatever you do choose, you're going to need to email us what that is so that we can find your site. So that the email's up there that you can send it to us.
Are these pretty public?
They are public.
Are they published? Anybody can Google them.
You can unlist them.
You can unlist it, but if you do that, you're going to have to add the professors. You're going to have to add all of us as a member. I recommend, if you guys don't mind, that we just keep these public. To be honest, to have these sites found very easily on Google, I mean, you'd have to do some pretty heavy SEO. So really nobody's going to stumble upon them accidentally. If you're concerned about it being public, just come and see one of us either after class or during the week, and I can kind of walk you through how to make it private, and we can come up with that scenario. But I would just keep them public.
We didn't discuss pseudonyms in class. I don't know what Allison's policy is on that, but
We didn't.
I'm usually fine with that. I have a few pseudonyms that I log under. So.
Me too. I think it's fine as long as we know where they are. So yeah, you guys name your site, and then you're also going to want to associate it with an email address. And you guys don't have to, but I would recommend just using your USC email address.
Yeah.
Once you make your domain, that's it. You can always add another site. You can go in and change your, like the tagline of your site or how it looks, but the subdomain is going to stay.
With my name is Caitlin.
I think unless you decide to buy a domain and add your own domain after that, but the free one I think has to stay that way.
Yes, the free one's going to be limited, and it's always going to be something WordPress.com. Like you can't get rid of the WordPress.com part. But again, this blog you guys are doing here, it's just for this class. I mean, you can go in and add some other blogs and do whatever you want with it, but for this one, it's just going to be related to your assignments. So, I mean, you could have like your name and ASCJ 200, or I mean, whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't matter. All right, so go ahead and go through all of these screens and create your account. And I'm going to go ahead and flip over to my site. Shoot. Okay, so you guys are probably landing on a page that looks somewhat like this. And remember, you have to confirm your email and get your account all set up. All right, raise your hand if you guys haven't created an account yet, and if you're not on a page that looks like this. So everyone's here. Let me just see some thumbs. We're good. All right. So scroll down here on the left and see if you see a button that says WP Admin, but I'm going to guess that for some reason you guys don't. Okay. So what we're going to do is open a new tab and then go ahead and either copy paste or write the name of your blog down. And then you're going to add to the back of it /WP-admin and then another slash, if you can kind of see up here. It's also on the whiteboard over here on the right. And then when I go to that page, it's going to look something like this. It's this black dashboard. So raise your hand if you're not on that dashboard so that one of us can kind of get you there. Raise it high so we know, because we're all going to be working with this dashboard today. Everyone's good? Okay. All right, guys, raise your hand if you're not on this dashboard so that we can come around and help you so we can move forward. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going and assume that you're all here. Okay, so the reason I'm taking you guys to this dashboard is this is what you're going to see in the real world when you're working with WordPress. WordPress.com, like I said, it's great and it's free, but they also are kind of doing some things in there that are very customized. But I want you guys to learn how to do it the way that's going to benefit you the most when you leave here and you have a job. So this is what you're going to see anytime you're using WordPress, especially in a professional capacity. So I want you guys to get used to using this actual admin dashboard. It's always going to look the same. It's always black. There's always these columns down the left. And you'll get used to seeing this. So when you land on your dashboard, when you log into your site, this is just, think of this as the back end of your site. And this, when you land here, it's just kind of giving you kind of a snapshot of what's been happening. Obviously, you guys aren't going to see very much there because we just literally created these accounts, right? But as you start building more and more content, you know, it'll just kind of give you an overview of how much content you have. Stats are important, like how many people are looking at things, which ones are getting more hits. Comments, that'll kind of give you a list of who's been commenting. And just kind of a general overview. So over here on the left, these are all the different things you can do. I mean, we're just going to dig into a few of them today, but I encourage you guys to play around with your site you know, as we go through this class. And again, you're never going to break anything. You can always come to us for questions. Like, nothing's going to be broken. So just down here, just know that there's these settings. Yeah.
I'm not sure why my dashboard isn't there.
Okay. Erica's going to come over. So in your settings, these are for you guys to tweak. I want you guys to really think about design, and that's something we're going to be talking about in this class. And it's going to be kind of a thread, design and creativity through all these projects. So I'm leaving it to you guys to design your own site. You can choose whatever theme you want. Bless you. If I were you, I would choose a free one, but you know, if there's one you really like and you want to pay for it, you're welcome to do that too. But a lot of these settings, I just want to point them out. Some of it's going to depend on what theme you end up choosing, kind of how you want to tweak it and how you want it to look. So there's no standard setting to kind of show you guys. It's really just going to be up to you and how you want to curate your own blog. A few things I'll just point out to you. When you click on general settings, up here, this is where you can give your site a title and a tagline if you want one. So this is probably a place where you're going to want to mention something about ASCJ 200 since this blog is for that class. Unless, I mean, I would probably put it there. It might be in your domain as well. Another one to look at is reading settings. For this blog, I'm going to recommend you want to see where it says front page displays. You're going to want to leave this on your latest posts because pretty much the point of this blog is to be a blog, right? With all your assignments on it for us to look at for class. You could change it to a static page if you wanted to. I don't see a reason to need to do that for class purposes, but this is important down here where it says blog pages to show it most. This is going to depend on the theme you guys choose and kind of what looks good. So there's no right number for me to tell you, but some themes, like, you don't want to be scrolling down infinitely to see everything. You might want to kind of limit it to a certain number just depending on how it looks. So know that that's here. And then again, the rest of these settings are just for you to kind of go and play with as we go along. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into adding content. So before I do that, one thing I always like to do for workflow is I always have my dashboard open, and then I always like to open up another tab right next to it that has my live site. So I can kind of go back and forth and always kind of look at how my site is updating. So I'm going to go up here and just right click on view site so I can open it in another tab. And so this is obviously, you guys aren't going to really have any content on yours yet, but we wanted to build an example with content in it just so you guys get an idea of what they will look like. So this is our test site that we have for today. You can see there's content on here. This theme, I believe, is called Cubic, and it's obviously very visual. And pretty much what I see when I land on this is just these blog posts and photos, right? If I click on these, obviously in this story I have some text over here, but with the way that this, the way that this theme is running, I don't really see any of that text on the front page, even though it's showing me all of my blogs. So again, it really depends on how you guys want to design this. We're not going to tell you a right or wrong way. The menu over here is a little bit hidden, so I have to go all the way over here to the right, and then it kind of clicks my menu here, shows my menu here. So that's just this theme. So we're going to work with this one for a little bit. Close this. So I'm going to go over to my reading settings. And let's just go ahead and create a post. So over here where it says post, I'm going to click on add new. And it's going to pull up this page. So over here, this is, this is where you're going to add all your content. It's the same as like if you've ever been in Microsoft Word or if you're typing emails, it's the same kind of thing. There's two tabs over here I want to draw your attention to. We, for the most part in this class, are always going to want to stay on the visual tab. If you click on where it says text, it takes you into an HTML editor. If that's something you guys want to dig into a little more, come and see us. We can play with it. But for the purposes of what you guys need to do for these assignments, You don't really need to stray from this tab. Everything can be done in there. So let's go ahead and create our first post together. You guys are doing that blackout assignment for one of your first assignments, right? So we're going to kind of stick to that theme for these test ones. So we'll do 24 hours without my phone. So that's what you guys are doing, right? I had this crazy assignment. All of my, it was hard, but I wanted to meditate. No, you guys can do whatever you want to do. I'm just trying to put some content in here so you guys can follow. You guys can write whatever you want.
Can we go in and edit the content once we publish it?
Yes, you can always go back and edit anything. So for today, we're just playing around. You guys are probably going to want to go in and delete all of these dummy posts because we're just playing today, just so you guys get the hang of it. So I have some text here. There's a few things I can do. If you look up here, this is called a WYSIWYG editor. Does anyone know what that stands for? Anyone? Bueller? WYSIWYG? It stands for what you see is what you get. So it's just a very cut and dry. It's showing you visually like what you're going to see. So I'm not going to go over these things. You guys know them. Bold, italics, all these usual suspects. This is an important button right here. People refer to it as the kitchen sink. You want to make sure that that's on. Without it on, you're losing a whole second line of features. So just click on this one and make sure it's there. An important thing to look at down here that's sort of unique to WordPress is see this box where it says paragraph. So this had automatically defaulted to paragraph. But what this is doing is behind the scenes, it's pulling in what's called CSS. Does anyone know what that stands for? Everybody? Just jargon. It stands for cascading style sheets. But essentially what it is it's all the little Oompa Loompas behind the scene, like giving your site the look and feel of it. So the good news is here, you don't have to go in and worry about any of that coding. All of it's already built into the theme that you guys are choosing. But one thing you want to pay attention to is, again, formatting this text. So right now, everything I have here is just paragraph text. So it's just going to look like a paragraph. But say I want to have a header because I'm going to kind of add some media and talk about, so I don't want a period there, talk about something else and I want it to be bigger. So all I have to do is over here in this drop-down menu, all of these headings, there's usually 6 different headings ranging in size. Those are already built into my theme. Depending on the theme you guys are using, it's going to look different. But I'm going to go ahead and make this a heading. And up here in the right-hand corner, let's just kind of take a preview of what that's going to look like. So see, I have my title here. This is paragraph text. And then see how yoga is a little bit bigger. So that's a heading. I'm going to close this out. So again, I just previewed it. I still haven't published it. I have to click on this button to publish. Now I'm going to go ahead and publish this so we can take a look at this theme. And then we can talk about images. So I'm going to go ahead and publish. So what's the problem over here in this theme?
You need visual.
Right. Because this theme is so visual and it's really using images in a prominent way, I can't really put this post on here without what's called a featured image. So I'm going to go back, as we were talking about, you can always go back and edit anything you put on WordPress. So I'm going to go back over here to my post. It's already open, so I'm still editing it. I'm going to scroll down here to the right. See in the right-hand corner at the bottom of the right column where it says Set Featured Image? I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So obviously it's defaulting to my media library. You guys aren't going to have anything in yours yet, most likely. I already have a few things in here because again, we already added some content. But I'm going to go ahead and upload a file just so you guys can see that process.
Wait, so do you only have that set featured image button if your theme like calls for that? Because I don't see that on
Everybody should have that.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So in some themes you like can't even add pictures?
You can, it just won't. I'll show you how to add one in a post. So let's just, for those of you that have featured images right now, a theme kind of like mine, I'll just show you how to do that. And then we'll add just a photo into it. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a file. Again, you guys can just drag and drop something. Does everyone know how to just download images from libraries online? I'm assuming.
Are we allowed to do that?
You are, well, technically speaking, you guys should always be using Creative Commons or something where you're looking at attribution rights. And again, we can talk about this more in Classic where we want the line to be. But yeah, technically you should always be using Creative Commons because you need to have the legal rights to be using an image. You also always want to make sure that you're citing your source, which I'll show you in here how to do that. For today, because we're just playing and you guys are going to delete these and we don't have a lot of time, feel free to just pull something down and use it quickly or just use something that's already on your computer. But yeah, like we want to make sure we're paying attention to copyright in this class for sure. So go ahead and drag something in here, pull something down. I'm just going to grab something from my desktop. So I'm going to choose this photo. It's called Meditation. It was already in there, but I'm going to do it again. And so over here on the right, there's just, I'm going to draw your attention to a few things. I could edit my image right here if I wanted to. I can change the dimensions and scale it. Again, best practice, you probably want to kind of get your photos ready before you put them in here, but just know that you have that option when you're adding them through WordPress. Oops, I just closed that out. Let me go back. So I'm going to cancel that. Okay, so a few other things here. Because this is an image that I just pulled down, I want to make sure that I'm giving it a caption and credit, because again, this isn't my photo, this is coming from a source. And even though we can use it, I want to make sure that it's cited. So again, you can give things a title, a URL of where it came from. Alt text, does anyone know what that's for? That's for like when something's being read out loud. So say if somebody has a disability and they're using a device or something to read things out loud for them, that's where you're kind of curating how that would work. And descriptions are really good because as you start building a site with a lot of content, a little bit of work up front can really save you guys some time later. I know a lot of times we do things in a hurry and we just want to get the photo up there, but there might be a time like a year from now when you're like doing a piece about yoga mats and you're like, oh shoot, I had that photo with yoga mats in it, but now I need to find it. So descriptions are kind of nice because it just helps you keep things organized. So I'm going to go ahead and set that featured image. And I'm just going to go ahead and update this. So when I reload my site, now I have a featured image there, right? And that looks a lot better. But watch what happens when I click on this image. So I have my blog here, but now I want to actually go to the post. So what do you guys think about this featured image on my post? It's pixelated, right? So it might look good for the homepage of my blog, but to actually use it as a featured image, the way that this theme is kind of having a pretty big piece of real estate for an image, it's probably not the best photo to use, right? Because if I go back into my media, it's only 52 kilobytes, which that's a pretty small photo. So I don't know if you guys have learned this before, and I'm not going to dig into it too much today. We'll talk about it more when we're in Photoshop. But you always want to think about optimizing any images or media that you're creating for the web. So it's kind of two ends of that spectrum. On one hand, you know, even on phones these days, like these are taking pretty huge photos. Like you don't even have to be on a DSLR anymore. So you don't want to be uploading like 20 gigabyte photos to a website, because what is that going to do?
Make it take longer to load.
Yeah, it's going to slow it down, right? Like, I mean, how many of you guys have received emails from like your grandma of her cat and it takes like 100 years for it to load because it's a huge photo? So you don't want to do that. But at the same time, you don't want to grab something that's so small that it's going to be stretched and then it's going to be pixelated. So, you know, pay attention to images as you're curating your site.
There's also a storage limit on the free WordPress, 3 gigabytes.
Yes, there is. So it's kind of helping you. So I'm going to go in and edit that because I don't really like the way it looks. So I'm going to go down and remove my featured image. And I'm going to set another one. I already have one loaded in here. Again, you guys can just watch if you want to, or pull something else in. You might not have had this problem if your photo was a little larger. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as my featured image. So I can see that I have this down here now. But then for those of you that want to add photos and you're not using featured images, you can also just add a photo into your blog post. That's another way to feature content. So I still really like that photo. I just don't think it works in this theme as a featured image. So I'm going to go ahead and just add it to this post. I'm going to leave it at full size. I'm just going to leave it centered, although I can kind of play around with the alignment if I want to. I could even link it back to the site that it came from. So I'm going to go ahead and insert it into my post and see how I had given it a citation, and that came along with it, which again is always appropriate to do when you guys are pulling media in from other sources. So let's just go ahead and make that change. So now when I go over here, I'm going to update this post. So now see how the featured image up here is updated, which looks good. And now I have this other image just in my blog post. Okay, any questions so far? Yeah.
I just pulled a random image I had saved and
Mm-hmm.
like automatically downloaded the description.
Mm-hmm.
And because it like gives it credit, do you want us to keep those within the blog post, or is that a big chunk of writing?
I mean, use your judgment. If it's like a whole paragraph, you probably don't need it, but make sure if it is an image that you're using from somebody that the citation is there.
Okay.
So like where it came from, the URL. Okay, so let's do a few more things to this post. We're going to add a link to another page. So say okay, so I'm going to pull up our site again. And pull up content from another website. So this is our digital detox series we did in here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that URL. And then when I go back to my post, I'm just going to highlight the word digital detox. And I'm going to click up here on this little icon where it says insert edit link. And I'm going to go ahead and turn those words into a link. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that URL. I'm going to keep the text as written. And I personally like to always check this box because again, it's gonna, when somebody clicks on that, it's going to take them out of my site. So I like it to just kind of open another tab that they can just close and then my site's still there versus like constantly going back and forth. So I'm going to click that tab and then click add link. And so you'll notice here that we have a link. And let's just do one more thing on here. Let's go ahead and add a video. How many of you guys have YouTube accounts? A few of you. So that's probably that's something you're going to want to create for this class, because you're going to need to store your videos somewhere in time once you guys start shooting and creating your own videos that you're going to need to post on here. You can use Vimeo as well, Vimeo or YouTube. I'm assuming most of you are more familiar with YouTube, so I'm going to go ahead and use that right now. Anyone have a theme for something to look up in YouTube? Nothing? Cats? Cats are always easy. Erica knows I love cats. There's one on my computer. Wow. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm literally just going to copy the URL that's up here at the top. Oh, wow. This is a good distraction, right? No! That's so mean. All right. All right, I'm going to copy this URL. Sorry, guys, I have to close it because we have a lot to get through in 8 minutes. And literally all I'm going to do is add that link to this visual editor. So let's go ahead and preview that change. And see, again, it's just like magic. WordPress did it for me. There's a play button here. The cat is so cute. What'd you say? Oh.
I thought that was an ad.
Oh. All right, so I can go ahead and update this, and then it will commit my changes to the site. So I'll just take a quick look. Okay, so I got my video, my image, and a featured image. Yeah.
What did you use to upload the video?
So all I did was I copied the URL of the video at the top and then just pasted it in the visual editor. Does that make sense? You want me to do it one more time?
No.
Okay. I know, it's so easy, right? Like, I'm not even going to show you guys how to go into the HTML and embed things, because all you have to do is paste the link. So speaking of that, I'm going to show you how you guys are going to do this social media assignment that you have due every week. And that's going to be super simple as well. So I'm going to create another post. And again, you guys can call these whatever you want. I would only caution you, though, to come up with kind of a standardized architecture for how you guys add these things. So whatever naming structure you come up with for these assignments, I would kind of stick to the same thing every week so it's streamlined. I'm just making this up. Social media assignment, week 1. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is, and again, you guys are using the hashtag ASCJ200. It can be on Instagram. It can be on Twitter. You have 3 of them due every week. But all I have to do is, so I'm going to go into Twitter. Let me get you into a feed. So I'm on I'll go to our feed here at the Annenberg Digital Lounge. So if I go to one of my tweets and I click on the timestamp of it, see how it pulls up this tweet itself, and you'll notice up here in the URL there's a unique ID for this tweet alone. If I scroll down, there's nothing else there, it's just this tweet. So this is how you guys are going to grab your 3, bless you, pieces of social media every week. So just like the video, I'm going to go up here and just copy that URL. And then when I go back to my post, again, make sure I'm on the visual editor. All I have to do is copy and paste that URL. So if I preview over here, it's embedded for me. So I don't even have to do anything. And the nice thing is too, it will, if you have comments and whatnot, like kind of everything related to that tweet is going to land on your blog post. Yeah.
So when she said like, oh, at the end of every week you need to send the 3 screenshots of like the instas or the tweets, we could just post them all on here instead?
Yeah, I think this is a little sexier than having to take like a screenshot. Like this way it's just embedded. And because it's embedded as things update, because when you take a screenshot, that's like a static photo, right? but this is in real time. So as things are retweeted or people are liking it, it's going to update itself.
Yeah. So I have another question.
Yeah.
If we're like getting assigned what to write about, and then like, but we could tweet about whatever or like retweet whatever, isn't the whole blog going to be kind of like, it's not really going to have a theme? Like you're not just writing about like, it's going to be really random, like everything we're writing about or posting about.
Well, everything should be related to the theme of the class. I mean, we're not straying too far
Okay.
from the idea of like deconstructing media and kind of looking at, you know, a lot of the assignments you guys have are going to be kind of around the genre of social justice and kind of activism.
Okay.
Um,
So if we can retweet things more like in that area, it might like flow better then.
yeah, I would say for now, a general rule of thumb is maybe try to start retweeting things that are kind of related to what we're talking about in the lecture.
Yeah.
And then as we move forward in the class, I think more things will come to fruition and you guys will have kind of a better sense of like where we're going. And yeah, and speaking of organization of your site, and that's very important, I'm not going to really tell you guys how to organize your site. Again, you guys are the artists. You're your own little David Bowie. You can curate it however you want to. But it's really important to think about organization when you're designing a site. When you're designing a large site, people spend months, like, they're called wireframes. It's essentially kind of mapping out what a website's going to look like and every click that like a user is going to go through. So obviously you're not going to have that much content for this class, but think about it now as you're organizing it. Like how do you want to categorize things? Do you want it to be, you know, by assignment, by week? Like how do you want to organize it? So let me show you a few things. First is we're going to talk about categories and tags. Did we already talk about that in here? No. Can anyone tell me the difference between them? So think of it like this. Think of like a book that you open. Categories are like what you would see in the first few pages in the table of contents. Like, what are these chapters about? And then tags are what you'd find if you flip to the end of the book and there's kind of like the index, right? So a category in this fake book that we're making might be meditation. Like that's a whole chapter of this book. But in the back, there might be a tag or an index item for yoga mats or being outside, like other things that are kind of related to what we're writing about, but it might not be like a chapter. So kind of think about them that way as you guys are creating these posts. Let's go ahead and go back to that first post we created. We don't need to save this one. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that first page we made. So down here where it says categories, I actually created this in the class this morning, but I added a category called meditation. I'll add another one called ASCJ 200. So again, that's the category I'm going to use. And then in terms of tags, like these are things that, again, think of an index. And again, you guys are worried about things being public facing. You might not want people finding these things in class, but when you have a post and you want people to find it, tags are are related to metadata, and that's going to help people find your stories. So the more tags you add, the higher, it's called SEO, you have. Like people will find your stuff a little easier. But for now, we're just going to stick to a category so that I can show you guys how to add a menu and kind of how to organize things. And I know we're running out of time, so if anyone needs to head out, we can do that too. But just quickly, if I go over here to...
Also, before you head out, just a reminder to send me your website, your blog URL to my email. And if you missed roll call for attendance, come see me after.
So just quickly, for those of you guys that want to stay, when I go into creating a menu, there's a structure that I can create. So this, and a menu, as you'll notice here, it doesn't have to just be a blog post, or it can be a page, or it can also be a category. So a category is a way for you guys to organize things as well. So for example, you could have a category on the top of your site that's like photography, and then all the assignments you guys do that are kind of related to photography might pop up under there. you know, it just kind of depends on how you guys want to organize it. Yeah.
So I tried to post like an Instagram link, like my own Instagram, but my Instagram is private, so if you use it, the content doesn't show up.
Okay.
Does that mean that I have to make it public for it to show up?
Yeah, if it's private, it's not going to link anywhere. But you could also just create another Instagram account if you want that's public that you use just for the class.
So you can do that for Twitter also?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are welcome to. So one quick thing about themes, and I'm sorry you guys, this is running over, but as I said, like a theme is just a skin that you're laying over your content in WordPress. Your content is never going to go anywhere. So you can kind of change themes as you go, like play with one for a little bit, and if you don't like it, you can put another one on. I'm going to change this one quickly just to kind of show you. Because the theme we had before, it's really great and visual, but if I start adding a lot of other, like a sidebar and whatnot, I can't really do that on that theme, and maybe I'm deciding that that's something I want for this class. So I'm going to go ahead and change this theme. So now you'll see when I click on my site, this is a very different look, right? My content hasn't changed, but look how different my site looks because I chose a different theme. So in this theme, just hang on one second, I can see all my blog posts here, but now I have this whole sidebar with all these different widgets here. And the nice thing is, see how my menu is just right at the top of this page? I don't have to click on something over here like the other theme. It's just prominent at the top of my site. So depending on how you guys want to kind of organize your site, you might want to think about that when you're choosing a theme. Any other questions? I know I saw a hand up.
Yeah, where can I read, like, do you have an email we can reach you at, or is it just
Yeah, sure. So I've emailed all you guys a few things. I had to send you that link because I don't know what was happening with Allison's computer. I still can't figure it out. Yeah, you guys shoot me emails anytime. I didn't really set up official office hours just because we're in here all the time. But if you want to set up a meeting with me, just shoot me an email and we can set up a time. That being said, the Digital Lounge itself is sort of just constant office hours for you guys because we're expecting you guys to come in, you know, whenever you need help from any of us. Erica and Justin are here as well. Their doors are open and the help desk can help you. Any other questions? I know I kind of went through a lot. Remember, all of this stuff is on our site, so you can go back and kind of revisit this tutorial. That's it? No questions?
And for the assignment, it's 24 hours without and 24 hours with.
Bless you.
Yeah, so if you need to drop
Yeah.
it every time you use it kind of thing.
So it's just,
That's gonna be a long one.
yeah. I mean, you're going back to normal, but you're just going to start paying attention to how much you use it and when.
Basically, just mention like our experience and something like that.
And as we said in class, the without, you guys, it's just 24 hours beginning and ending whenever you want to. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It's totally up to you.
I'm going to be keeping track of your social media posts.
Yeah.
Sorry, since I added the class, I'm not on the email list, so I
Okay.
didn't get the email about the room change, so I was up at 4:06.
Oh,
so sorry
shoot.
that I was.
That's okay. Sorry, I thought we had a note on the door. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay, no worries. But so now, like, since I'm registered for the class, should I be on like the email list? Going
Yeah, let me get your email. Bye, you guys. Have a good weekend. Yay, right? 3 days? Yeah.